Welcome, fellow travelers. I'm Kat, and I'm joining Chibi and Vertec at the Golden Feather. Come on in, grab a seat, and let's share tales of adventure.
Kat, can you tell us Axiom's official stance on the Snorse and why it's a terrible amount?
Oh, no. All right. So there's a bit of a civil war in our Discord over this topic, and there's no middle ground. You're not allowed to have a middle ground. You're either for or against the Snorse. And the sole reason that you shouldn't support this mount existing in Ashes of Creation is that snails don't have legs. That's it. They don't have legs. So it shouldn't exist in the game. They look just fine without legs, and it looks horrific. I hate when it stands up. It just looks terrible. I would much rather it just look like a snail mount. It would be perfectly beautiful, just as a snail mount.
Just as a snail mount. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. And welcome in there, Vladis. You rolled in at just the right time to hear the Snorse answer. So good timing there. Good timing. So,
I may or may not have made a poll for it.
Nice. So we can continue to get solid feedback, and we can figure out where the audience lies.
Yeah, exactly. Are you for or against the Snorse? We'll see. So far against. I don't know. It's tied now, so we'll see. We'll check back in about 5 minutes.
So, Kat, if you don't mind, could you tell the class a little bit about yourself and your purpose of existence in Axiom?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Kat. I am one of the senior officers in an Ashes Creation guild called Axiom. We've been around since the Kickstarter of the game, been testing ever since then. We grew quite a bit in the massive lazy peon surge of 2020, which is how I ended up in Axiom, or rather learned about the game and then ended up joining Axiom. Rose to leadership shortly after joining the community, and just been really loving talking about the game, really building up a good atmosphere, a good community for a game that I'm looking forward to, and facilitating, a guild that I'm excited to play with. And these guys are great. I'm very excited to go into Alpha 2 with them.
Nice.
Fantastic. So,
did you have another one? Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to ask about a rumor I heard about Bard being your favorite class. Is this true?
Absolutely. It's not a rumor. It's very well known, at least in our circle. I love support classes in general, but I do not play healers. I like only the support centric. So buffs, boons, providing a niche in groups, things of that nature. I've always enjoyed that playstyle since I played Lord of the Rings online. I'm always looking for a class that kind of fills that niche in MMOs.
Awesome.
Sorry, Chibi, I interrupted you earlier, I do believe. What were you going to say?
It's okay. I was going to ask, what, if anything, are you most looking forward to with Alpha 2 access this year?
Probably the thing I'm looking forward to the most is actually being a guild, for lack of a better term. So, we've had a lot of people excited for the game, and we've all been hyping up the game for years, and we've played other games together over the years, but it's always a scattered representation of the people that are really here for Ashes of Creation. So I genuinely am very excited to finally get all of my my fellow guild members together playing the same thing for the first time in Alpha 2. And then as far as Alpha 2 itself, with the community part of it aside, the node system is definitely something that I think is very innovative in the MMO space. And I'm very intrigued and very interested to see how this system shakes out, and how much it's going to change the landscape of MMOs of the future, and if this is something that's going to genuinely shake up the industry as the first really innovative thing I think we've seen in MMOs in a long time. Looking forward to that.
Okay. That's a pretty good answer. I like that, actually.
Yeah. Same here.
I was going to ask you What is one class you hope they showcase soon? I think we all know that answer. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. How soon do you think they're going to showcase Bard if we go into a little bit of a theory craft?
I mean, I think it's the only class that Steven has said in Discord that he said looking good, or the Bard is looking good. So that says to me that the class design team is probably giving some precursor presentations to Steven right now, and that might be an indicator that it's next in line, because we haven't heard anything about Rogue, and we haven't heard much about Summoner, but Steven had this like glowing reaction to the Bard, so I'm like, ooh, they must have just like shown him the current state of Bard because they're thinking about it being the next class reveal. So yeah, yes, I'm biased, but also Steven has actually come out and, you know, given us a bit more detail and reaction to that class than the other two.
Yeah, definitely. I like that. And it looks like the chat has spoken, and we are primarily against the Snorse. So rest in solace of knowing that the chat is with you, Kat.
Good.
Boo! Rogue, please. Down with the Snorse. Oh, wow. You know what? I feel like this calls for a battle. Maybe we should see who survives the champion of the hill.
Ooh.
The next question I have for you is, do you think with Alpha 2 being in quarter 3, it's going to be the beginning of quarter 3, the middle of quarter 3, or at the end of quarter 3?
Oh, man. I mean, obviously the safe answer is the middle. I'm gonna go with late in Q3, because I think it's pretty inevitable that we might see some things either in spot testing, or things might crop up that might delay it a little bit. I think delays are kind of a guarantee in my mind, which may sound like pessimistic, but you know, some of us have jobs that involve projects, and I think we all understand, even in just if we're just working on an essay for school or something, not everything goes right on time, and I think it's always safe to err on the side of being at the end of the Q3, just in case, you know, something occurs. So it's a pessimistic take, but I think it's just a realistic one.
That's fair. October for the House Cup, blood for the blood god. Loki won the champion of the hill.
For context, we hold a House Cup for our anniversary every year, and Veloki was in my house this last year, and we won the House Cup. We named ourselves the Blutiful Bastards.
Love it.
Because our tag color was blue, so we had to come up with a cool name for that. Good times.
I love that so very much. Okay, my final answer before we go into the main sections, or if Vertec has another one, is between 1 hype and 5 hypes. What is your hypometer for the upcoming live stream, development stream?
I'm like a 3, actually.
Like a 3?
Yeah, it's centered on PvP, and obviously PvP is like a really big part of the game, so it's an important topic, but the timing of the topic for me just seems like it's going to be kind of a soft core live stream, because a lot of PvP hinges on class design, and 3 classes we haven't even seen yet, and so any topic around PvP at this point just seems like it's going to be very old news very quickly the moment we start learning about how the other classes work. So it's not the most hype I've ever been about a stream. There's definitely other topics I wish they would discuss, but obviously a PvP live stream is one of the topics that I want them to cover, but I would prefer to see it like after we've seen the other class reveals.
That's fair. Vertec, did you have any questions for Kat before we move on?
I was gonna ask, since you are a big fan of the Bard, what would you say is your number 1 hope for the final polished Bard product? As specific as you could be, because I know it's really easy to say, I want it to be a great support-based class.
That's a deep question there, because so my most positive experiences with support classes was I played the captain in Lord of the Rings Online, which is a it's a Master of None class, and so you could spec it to be an off healer, an off tank, or a DPS, and you could provide boons and buffs and healing to people depending on which of those three roles you wanted to niche into. And so it was a class that, depending on the situation or what the needs of the group were, you could adjust your talents and your gear and the skills on your bar to really be to subsidize some weaknesses in your group play. And that's where I became kind of fell in love with support classes, because I enjoy the utility of what it is to be a support. I like playing classes where the choices of your talents and the skills that you choose to use really do matter. And I think that support classes, more than any other, that is where the value is. And in a good support player is they really understand their class and how to play it to maximize other people's performance rather than your own. And I think that takes a higher skill level to be able to think in that way as a gamer than it does for just being a DPS player or a healer or a tank, where they kind of know what their job is, whereas a support's job can change depending on the situation. And so it just makes it more interesting, more engaging, and more fun. So without getting specific, that's what I hope for the bard to do. I really want it to be that Master of None, and I want to be able to play my bard in all situations and be able to adapt to any situation in the game. Every meta requires a bard. That's what I want.
I like it. I like it.
Honestly, fitting right with that, I guess, being able to hot swap, at least in town, between multiple secondary archetypes to kind of fit the need of the day would kind of be really important for support classes, yeah?
Yeah, I hope so. I don't want it to be too annoying.